Today our topic is Porter's 5 forces model, which is part of procurement strategy identification. In this video, we explore each of Porter's 5 forces and show you how to use them. This will help you to analyze your organization's strengths and weaknesses, and to identify critical factors that may affect your profitability. Introduction of Porter's 5 forces model. The 5 forces model was created by Harvard Business School professor Michael Porter and was first published in 1979. Since then, the model has become one of the most popular business strategy tools that organizations use to understand more about the main competitive forces at work in their industry. The model encourages organizations to look beyond direct competitors when assessing strategy and, instead, consider broader environmental forces. By understanding these forces, organizations can make more informed decisions, identify areas for improvement, and redefine their strategy to enhance and strengthen their competitive position in the market. Porter's 5 forces is a simple but powerful tool that you can use to identify the followings. Main sources of competition in your industry or sector. Understand the forces affecting your industry. Now you can adjust your strategy, boost your profitability, and stay ahead of the competition. You can take fair advantage of a strong position or improve a weak one and avoid taking wrong steps in the future. What are the Porter's 5 forces? And application. According to Porter, there are 5 forces that represent the key sources of competitive pressure within an industry. Porter stressed that it's important not to confuse these 5 forces with more fleeting factors, such as industry growth rates and government interventions. According to Porter, those are examples of temporary factors, while the 5 forces are permanent parts of an industry's structure. Porter's 5 forces is a market analysis tool which can be used for attractiveness of an industry and the levels of competition within it. An industry is a set of organizations whose purpose is to satisfy the needs of a group of buyers who are collectively known as the market. For a market to be sustainable long-term, it must be a profitable industry for the businesses competing in it. The businesses within a market must be able to find ways to remain competitive. By using Porter's 5 forces, an organization can determine its ability within a specified industry to earn a profit that gives an acceptable return on the financial investment made. The different forces outlined in the model influence the prices that can be charged, and the costs that have to be met. In general, the stronger the competitive forces in the industry, the less profitable it is for individual firms. In addition to analyzing the attractiveness of a market, Porter's 5 forces can also be used to help inform make or buy decisions, and as an aid to negotiations, helping organizations to map the power balance between buyers and suppliers. We will now review some of the factors organizations should consider for each of the 5 forces outlined in the model. Porter's 5 forces model includes: Number 1, competitive rivalry. Number 2, buyer power. Number 3, threat of new entry. Number 4, supplier power. Number 5, threat of substitution. We will now review some of the factors organizations should consider for each of the 5 forces outlined in the model. These are examples for each factor. Now we will review each factor in detail. The first forces is competitive rivalry. The first of Porter's 5 forces looks at the number and strength of your competitors. Consider how many rivals you have, who they are, and how the quality of their product compares with yours. In an industry where rivalry is intense, companies attract customers by cutting prices aggressively and launching high-impact marketing campaigns. This can make it easy for suppliers and buyers to go elsewhere if they feel that they're not getting a good deal from you. On the other hand, where competitive rivalry is minimal, and no one else is doing what you do, then you'll likely have tremendous competitor power, as well as healthy profits. The examples are: number of competitors, diversity of competitors, industry concentration, industry growth, quality differences, brand loyalty, barriers to exit, switching costs. The second force is buyer power. If the number of buyers is low compared to the number of suppliers in an industry, then they have what's known as buyer power. This means they may find it easy to switch to new, cheaper competitors, which can ultimately drive down prices. Think about how many buyers you have, that is, people who buy products or services from you. Consider the size of their orders, and how much it would cost them to switch to a rival. When you deal with only a few savvy customers, they have more power. But if you have many customers and little competition, buyer power decreases. The examples are: number of customers, size each order, difference between competitors, price sensitivity, ability to substitute, cost of changing. The third force is threat of new entry. Your position can be affected by potential rivals' ability to enter your market. If it takes little money and effort to enter your market and compete effectively, or if you have little protection for your key technologies, then rivals can quickly enter your market and weaken your position. However, if you have strong and durable barriers to entry, then you can preserve a favorable position and take fair advantage of it. These barriers can include complex distribution networks, high starting capital costs, and difficulties in finding suppliers who are not already committed to competitors. Existing large organizations may be able to use economies of scale to drive their costs down, and maintain competitive advantage over newcomers. If it costs customers too much to switch between one supplier and another, this can also be a significant barrier to entry. So can extensive government regulation of an industry. The examples are: barriers to entry, economies of scales, brand loyalty, capital requirements, cumulative experience, government policies, access to distribution channels, switching costs. The fourth force is supplier power. Suppliers gain power if they can increase their prices easily, or reduce the quality of their product. If your suppliers are the only ones who can supply a particular service, then they have considerable supplier power. Even if you can switch suppliers, you need to consider how expensive it would be to do so. The more suppliers you have to choose from, the easier it will be to switch to a cheaper alternative. But if there are fewer suppliers, and you rely heavily on them, the stronger their position, and their ability to charge you more. This can impact your profitability, for example, if you're forced into expensive contracts. The examples are: number of suppliers, size of suppliers, uniqueness of product, your ability to substitute, cost of changing. The fifth force is threat of substitution. This refers to the likelihood of your customers finding a different way of doing what you do. It could be cheaper, or better, or both. The threat of substitution rises when customers find it easy to switch to another product, or when a new and desirable product enters the market unexpectedly. The examples are: substitute of performance, cost of change, ability to substitute, how many substitute products available, buyer propensity, relative price, performance of substitute, level of differences between products, switching costs. Advantages of Porter's 5 forces. There are many advantages of analyzing the competitive position of an organization. Number 1. Decision making. It helps organizational decision makers in defending and/or growing their market share and profit in an existing or new market. This can aid with make or buy decisions. Number 2. Identifies of threats. It helps organizations to identify possible threats in the form of substitutes or new entrants. Number 3. Identification of competitors. It allows organizations to assess the number of competitors, and intensity of competition from rival businesses. Number 4. Aid in pricing and negotiation strategies. It helps organizations identify the extent to which both their buyers and suppliers have power over them, which will help to aid pricing and negotiation strategies. Understanding where the power lies allows negotiators to recognize areas of strength and mitigate against areas of weakness. Disadvantages of Porter's 5 forces. There are many advantages of analyzing the competitive position of an organization. Number 1. It examines the microenvironment of the industry or market. Number 2. It does not analyze internal factors within an organization and does not look at wider macro-environmental factors that may shape strategy. Macro-environmental factors would include things like environmental risks such as the availability of commodities and raw materials, financial risks such as inflation or exchange rates, etc., all of which can also influence markets. Alternatives to Porter's 5 forces. To capture these elements, organizations could conduct a steepled analysis, which studies external factors. S. Social. T. Technological. E. Environmental. E. Economic. P. Political. L. Legal. E. Ethical. D. Demographic. This model helps organizations to make decisions, examining wider market factors as a whole, maximizing opportunities and minimizing threats. Conclusion. Porter's 5 forces model is a powerful tool for analyzing an industry's competitive landscape and assessing companies' position in the market. However, investors should remember that these 5 forces framework is just one tool in a broader toolkit of analysis techniques. It is leading standard for understanding an industry's competitive landscape. The clear structure helps start UPS and multinationals alike to identify the current and future threats in their markets. However, when analyzing the results, decision-makers must not forget that the analysis is only a snapshot of the industry under consideration. By the time the analysis is completed, the market situation may have already changed. Therefore, especially companies operating in industries with short and long product life cycles need to put mechanisms in place that continuously monitor the threats in their industry.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and before leaving, if you have not already subscribed this channel, make sure to subscribe, like and hit the bell icon to get updates when I post new videos. Provide your feedback in comments. You can download material from the below links under video.